Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Hello, listener.
I almost excused myself from the training.
Hi, listener.
Good to see all of you. Welcome. Melody and Chantal, I'm picking on you. I've made you co-host to help me let people in, so I'd really appreciate your help.
No worries.
No problem.
Hallo, listener.
Hallo Karen, lekker om jou te sien.
Jou ook.
Okay, if I can ask everyone if you can pop in the comments just where you're from. Let's get a look of who is in the room. Then we know, are we around the country and where are we situated? So we get to meet new friends when we see where you're all from. Joburg, Cape Town. Ooh, it's coming up so fast. Somerset West. From the beginning. There we go. I'm doing a quick screen share with you. There we go. Okay. Perfect. So let's see where everyone is from. Oh, BE, nice. Welcome. Pretoria East. Blouberg, Malmesbury, Joburg, Brackenfell, Limpopo, Sandton. Love it. Port Alfred, nice. We visited Bloomies, Hout Bay, Hermanus. I love it.
Hello.
Hello. Amazing to have all of you here. Bedford View. Bedford View, I don't think so. Welcome, Irma. Good to have you here. I am excited for today. This is something that is a lot of fun for me personally. So for those of you that are only popping in, if I can ask you two things. One is to pop in the comments where you're from, and the second is just to mute your mics. You can just all keep your mics muted for us. We will have a question and answer session at the end, but it makes it a lot easier if the mics are just on mute, so we don't have continuous background noise. But I'm excited to jump into this LinkedIn training with you today. Got a Mossel Bay in the house as well. We are really from all over. I absolutely love it. Christine, just around the corner in Durbanville. So a lot of you might say, listener, why are you doing LinkedIn training? Why LinkedIn? And I'm quite passionate about LinkedIn. So it's going to be a 3-series training course. I don't know if some of you might have done some of them before, but this week is the first time that I'm doing them all in 1 week. So I'm quite excited about that. And the reason that I've picked LinkedIn is because it is so underused and it is such an amazing platform for real estate. So we are going to address the why LinkedIn. But by the end, I hope that you are walking away knowing how to use your LinkedIn profile much, much better as a lead engine or lead generation engine. But if I can ask you to just drop in the chat for us as well, how often are you using LinkedIn at the moment? I want to see how much people are utilizing this platform, the ones that are in our training event. Oh, we've got never, very seldom, a bit, quite often. Nice, Johan Lotter. Okay, let's see who else. Literally never, elke dag. Nice, Kobe, every day. A little bit, never, seldom. Okay, so I'm very happy I'm starting with where we're starting at, because you guys are not the norm. The norm is that people are actually underusing LinkedIn. And one of the biggest reasons is LinkedIn was very much promoted as, let's call it a CV platform when it first came out. So it was almost like where you would load everything up, all of your work experience, referrals for your work experience, the companies you'll get tagged into where you worked before. So a lot of users have used it as a platform back in the day, where now it has evolved and evolved, and I am excited to share some of the really interesting stats with you. So LinkedIn now has over 1 billion users worldwide, and a significant amount of those users are the decision makers, which makes it very different than any other platform. So if you look at IG or Instagram, if you look at Facebook, if you look at TikTok, you don't necessarily have your big business owner, big corporates, big company positions that are holding positions on those platforms or that are spending a lot of time on those platforms. You might have younger, more hip visitors on there, and that's why the content is also super entertaining. But LinkedIn is the only platform out there where you literally have majority of decision makers on a platform. The platform has seen huge growth over the last couple of years, year on year. So if you look at the amount of growth that is happening there, it is very significant. And then also the engagement opportunities that it offers. So a lot of your LinkedIn stats will show you that even though there are so many users on this platform, it is a very underutilized platform because a lot of your decision makers, your corporate profiles, they don't tend to sit there and post, but they will much rather read on LinkedIn and look at articles or look at posts on LinkedIn than they would do on one, I'm going to say, younger social media platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So even though, yes, you want to have a presence on those, you guys are missing out big if you're not using LinkedIn profile for a lead generation tool for yourself. So it can, like LinkedIn can provide very good insights, and the way that LinkedIn work is quite different from your other platforms as well, as to they push your content out, the eyes that sees the different things that you post. So it works very different than some of those media platforms that we are on continuously right now. So I also want you to think of whether you still think of LinkedIn as a CV type of platform, because if you do, you are really missing out in really utilizing the platform for max exposure to really allow for it what it needs for you. So some interesting things, besides that it's got 1 billion users globally, it is one of the fastest growing platforms, and people don't even realize it because it does not reward the same type of behaviors than your other more social platforms would. LinkedIn is seen as a business profile. Like I said, 1 billion users and a large amount. So 65 million users on LinkedIn is decision makers. Those are your owners, your founders, high management positions, CEOs, highly ranked job titles, and founders of companies tend to be on LinkedIn, where sometimes you won't find them on a social media platform. They haven't bought into social media. They're not interested in the social platform of sharing about their life and who they are and what they do, but they will be available on LinkedIn. So a very, very different demographic of profiles that you've got versus your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, the old Twitter. So 58 million business profiles. These aren't individuals, these are companies. So just below the decision makers, you've also got all of your companies on there. And very often your large marketing positions, your large HR position holders on those companies will be managing these profiles for the businesses. So you need to understand that you're dealing with a different animal here. You almost can't classify LinkedIn as just another social media platform because it's not used by the users, and the amount of users that are decision makers and high profile company individuals are very different than someone that's younger and posting their fit for the day, or putting their makeup on Instagram or on TikTok, or sharing about their personal life. This is way more business driven, and that's also the way that you have to see it when you are making use of LinkedIn for a business profile for yourself. So in the next session that we'll do, which is tomorrow, we are going to look specifically at the type of content that will drive more views and more visits to your LinkedIn profile. But today we are looking at the all overview of LinkedIn so that you can understand why you really need this in your business. So obviously we are going to specifically look at LinkedIn for real estate, so that we use examples and we speak about how you will change and build your profile so that it is very specifically for real estate. So real estate has surged on LinkedIn, where you will find a lot of investors, a lot of relocation specialists or professionals, not just in country, but sometimes internationally, people that are specifically assisting high net worth clients with moves, either nationally or internationally. And I want you to think and give me an answer, say yes or no. Your profile of clients that you're currently working with, do you think your ideal buyers or ideal sellers could be on LinkedIn? If you say yes, give me a Y in the comments. If you say no, tell me why you don't think that they are on LinkedIn. I'm inquisitive to see the area that you're working in. We've got agents from right around. So I'm inquisitive of whether you think the real estate profiles for your sellers and buyers could be on LinkedIn. And then obviously I want to know why you think that as well. So your impressions on LinkedIn, so that's the views that it gets, people that see it, people that it gets placed in front of their eyes on. It generates 3 times more impressions than an Instagram story would. Now, if you go break down this stat here, it is very, very interesting to go look how it differs. The amount of time that will be spent on a post, the quality of views that you will receive on it. And something that's really nice is the way that LinkedIn breaks down those profile views for you. So you would be able to see what business sector that they fall in, and also how their level in their company was. So the normal labor level, the CEO level, or founders and business owners. So I really like the way that it does that, because it kind of shows you with your content, are you speaking to your normal crowd? So if you said yes or no for that business profile, the reason I'm asking you that is because you have to be clear on what your business profile is. So if you are working in a very specific area or a very specific market or a very specific price bracket, you kind of want to look at are your things that you are posting out when we get to the content tomorrow. You want to see that when you go look at that it drives the right type of crowds, because sometimes for some things you might want to lead the crowd on, which is your luxury real estate. And then at other times, you might be like, this is more going to be for investors or for the worker level, not necessarily those high positions. But then your buying power on LinkedIn is so much more than your buying power on a TikTok or an Instagram or a Facebook site. And the reason for that is if you go look at the income profiles of LinkedIn versus those other platforms where you can have youngsters on. So on your Facebook, on your Instagram specifically, you know that the youth now sees Facebook as an older platform. It makes me laugh because this didn't even exist when I was in school, but now the youth see it as it's for the old people. So old people, it's for us. But for those of you using it for real estate advertisements, you'll know that it does give you very good buyer's leads. So I like to tell my kids that yes, it is for the old people, but the old people's got money to buy from me. So it's important that I am there. Where Instagram, obviously younger, more hip crowd, very much about aesthetics, the things that you put out on Instagram, where that will draw attention on LinkedIn and on Facebook, but not to the same level. So understanding your profiles, but also understanding that let's say 1,000 views on Instagram versus 100 views on LinkedIn is very different. On LinkedIn, 100 views could be 100 views of very good profile clients that are viewing, where on Instagram, because something was pretty, you've got a lot of youngsters viewing that. That does not mean that that is your profile of guest and your profile of client. So understanding how different it is for the different platforms and why LinkedIn, which is why we're starting with this, so that you can really understand why LinkedIn is a profile for you, actually sometimes more than Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, where I know a lot of agents are spending a lot of time. For your awareness, it definitely is good to be on those platforms, but when you're really looking for leads in your typical clientele, it would be decision makers, people that are in higher positions, especially in some of the markets that some of you are working at. So that should kind of give you the idea of why are we doing LinkedIn and why is LinkedIn for us in real estate a very, very important platform. So optimizing your profile, which is what we're going to deal with in today's session, can lead to 15 times more engagement on your LinkedIn profile. So it's not necessarily all of this new content that you're putting out. Sometimes just optimizing your profile can give you 15 times, and that's quite a bit, guys, 15 times more engagement. And like I said in the previous slides, it's not just engagement. It is engagement from the correct eyes. It's engagement from your profile of clients that you really want to speak to or with. So your post engagement can receive 98% more comments than before you optimized your profile. So if you're sticking to your ordinary profile you've always had, which a lot of people do, they kind of have that profile when they first started LinkedIn. They might change the profile picture, but not their banner or their landing banner in the back. So it's very important that you understand, if you really optimize that profile, that landing page, the first things that they see when they go on your LinkedIn, it can give you 15 times more engagements and up to 98% more comments than you previously received. So here is an interesting stat, and you will see from the first question that I asked you, only 1% of users post weekly. So it doesn't mean that out of the billion, only 1% is on LinkedIn. It is that only 1% of them are actively posting. Now, guys, I really want you to see the opportunity that lies in this statistic. It means that when you are posting here, you are part of that minority of 1% that is posting, not 1% that is scrolling, reading, interacting, but 1% that is posting. And because that is such a low percentage versus your other platforms, it means that it's much easier for your content to be pushed out by LinkedIn on here when you fall in that 1%, and for eyes to come onto your post because there's not that much competition. So it's a complete different animal than Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, where you have got so much more happening on your feed, and whatever you post, if it does not grab attention, it kind of just passes by and it does not get a lot of eyes on it. And even if it gets eyes on it, it's not necessarily the correct eyes. So LinkedIn for me is more important than other platforms. And the reason for that is because of the type of user that we've got on here, and because people that are on here aren't as exhausted by the amount that goes on their feed. And sometimes also, I'm going to just say it as it is, nonsense that are on their feed. So when you are looking at the content, which we'll deal with tomorrow, you really want to look at your client profile. This is not the funnier you are, the more quirky you can be, that you necessarily are going to draw attention. It is a lot more about how your value proposition comes across as a professional when you are on these sites, that will give you more leads, that will give you more views, and that will allow the right eyes to really fall on your profile. So why LinkedIn? You're seeing all of these stats. I'm showing you why LinkedIn for me is something that real estate agents really should not skip on, because of the clientele that is on here, and because these are the eyes that you really want people to see. So if we are looking at that profile, so the landing page, I want to call it your lead or your client attractor, because that really is the first thing that they see when they see that. So what most agents at the moment on their profile has got wrong is that they see it as a CV style. So you need to take it from the CV style to a connection style, to someone needs to stop and go, wow, okay, this is interesting, or this is different. And not different in a funny way, but different in the way you brand yourself and the way that you put yourself out there. So move away from the formal CV type of view and more like you want to connect with people. You know, when they take real estate pictures, I'm sure all the photographers have said it to every real estate agent on here. Do a nice smile, make sure that you've got an open face. You need to look approachable for people. So you need to think of that little criteria that they give you when they take your profile picture as a real estate agent, and you have to look at your profile with those eyes and go, am I looking approachable? Am I looking like someone that people would want to connect with? So not just your uptight, stiff, professional real estate, where we all smile, picture, very stiff. You want to be more interactive. You want to look approachable and like people want to connect with you. So you have to look at what your headline is and what you're really doing with this. So one of the most important things, and I'm going to get to it as we move on, is really understanding that question that I asked you earlier on. I asked you with a reason, because I want you to think about this. I want you to chat to ChatGPT about this. You know, we all use ChatGPT. So I want you to go and chat to ChatGPT about what is that specific avatar. And when we say avatar, we mean the profile of a client for you on LinkedIn. And you are going to have to go and choose that specific avatar. So when I say that, I want you to think narrow down, not too widespread. You know, real estate can often be widespread. People are residential sales, they are doing the seller's mandate, they're working for the buyers when they're in South Africa because they represent both. Then sometimes they do rentals in between, and sometimes someone is hooked in with Airbnb, and then sometimes they're working on office space, or they're doing rentals for commercials, or even sales and commercials. There's so many different things that are going on. So when you think LinkedIn, I want you to let all of that fall to the wayside and pick one and only one, especially when you start building that connection style profile. The connection style profile that you do has got to be very specific as to who do you want to connect to. Do you want to use LinkedIn only to connect to sellers? Like that's got to almost be your avatar call to action. I'm going out for sellers. Or you know what? I'm going to go out for buyers on my LinkedIn. Or I'm going to go out with my rental business for LinkedIn. Or I'm going to go out with my commercial side for LinkedIn. But you cannot do that all of the above. LinkedIn does not respond that well to give you that many eyes when you go with the all of the above. So when you look at that profile that you want to create, you've got to narrow it down and be super specific. You can later on start broadening your horizons. And when I say later on, I mean year 1.5, year 2. Not really in the beginning when you're really working on that profile. The more that you are consistent as to that avatar, the more LinkedIn will recognize the avatar that you're after and push out specifically to those type of clientele. So you look at that page when you first open it up, and then you ask yourself, does this seem formal, CV-like, or does this seem like connection? And how can I use every part that I can see? The landing page, the profile picture, the head headline, the about section. How do I use all of this together to really look engaging when I look at that? Like, it needs to draw someone in so that they want to stop and know more about you as a person. So the headline formula that you need to use for that landing section or about you section is like, who is that? Who is this person and who is that ideal client? So it's got to speak to both. So if you want to position yourself as a seller's agent, you got to go all out for it. If you want to position yourself that you're looking for buyers, you're going to go all out for it. If you position yourself that you're looking for commercial, for rental, whichever category it is, when you look at that profile, it's got to shout towards that specific person. So everything that you do, from the landing page to your picture, to your headline, to your about section, it all needs to address who is that specific avatar that you're after, who is that specific person that you are speaking to and that you want to draw in. So everything, when you look at that big picture, has got to speak to that. It has to tell you, this is my type of agent. This is, I am the buyer, or I am the seller, or I am the investor. So whatever it is that you decide, this is what your LinkedIn profile is going to be for, you got to go for it 110%. Then your banner area, you also have to look at creating different banners and chop and changing that banner every week, every 2 weeks. You want to try and change that banner. So the little landing banner, and you also have to be careful. We'll do on that in content tomorrow, but on your layout, you want to be careful because the profile picture is going to cover a specific part of that banner in the back. You want to make sure that the way that you design it, so if you're using Canva or a different design tool, I'll give you the sizes tomorrow so that you design that profile for yourself and make sure that you don't have very interesting content behind your face that's blocked off and the banner can't be read well. So the layout that you do there is very, very important. And then you also want to have a call to action for whatever that who is that is. So call to action if it's a buyer, call to action for a seller, call to action for someone that has got a rental portfolio for you to become their preferred agent. So you can do something that they can contact you, that they can go straight to your calendar to book an appointment with you. So whatever that is that you're comfortable with, you want to kind of capture that in that landing page, like in that first area of attraction for someone to go deeper in and really want to connect with you. So important point is, yeah, you want to make sure it's not CV style, and you want to make sure that it really pulls people in to say like, oh, this feels like my type of agent that I need because this is going to fill the needs that I have. And then everything that you do on that page has got to speak to that. So you want to position yourself as a go-to agent. Now, again, LinkedIn is very different here in that you are not looking to go viral. You are not looking to go and have a popularity contest at the amount of people that are following your page, the amount of people that are interacting with your page. You want to become popular or famous in your area. So the more specific you can be about how you position yourself as the go-to agent in a specific area. So that positioning that we're talking about here, very often I see agents, especially on your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they'll see fun and funny things that content creators overseas are doing. So they might be following someone in the US or someone in the UK, and they'd be like, oh, this is amazing what they are doing. And then they take that content and they kind of try and bring it here. And you need to let those ideas go, especially on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you want to be very specific as to where you are and what are you addressing. So yeah, I've used an example where the positioning that I'm using is I help families move to Durbanville with less stress. Okay, so this is positioning myself as someone that is working in the Durbanville area, specifically probably for people that are doing semigration, that are moving from different provinces to Durbanville in the way that that is worded, rather than I sell real estate or I help sellers. So you want to be very specific in the level of service that you give or the problem that you solve. So we are addressing less stress here. You can imagine, all know how stressful it is to move, so much more when you move provinces. So here we are addressing, I'm positioning myself as I'm in Durbanville and I'm doing something that I'm taking your stress away for families that are specifically moving into this suburb. So you have to be very specific in crafting the message so that people know what it is that your offering is. What is your main service that you offer? When you look at your profile, someone's got to not wonder. It needs to not be generalized. It needs to not, you need to not wonder, am I speaking to buyers, sellers, all around Cape Town, everywhere in the northern suburbs? So the more specific you can be. Remember, I said you can always broaden later, but you will only broaden later once you really create leads for that specific profile in your area. If you're not creating leads yet, it means don't add anything to it, and how can you narrow it down even more? So your goal here with LinkedIn is not to be seen everywhere in the world with so many followers and so many likes, which, by the way, I don't know if a lot of people know this. I've spoken to some, I've met some people that has really caught on to the fact, and then a lot of people that hasn't. And when I speak of this, I speak across all platforms. You do not have the algorithms that are rewarding you anymore because of the amount of likes or follows that you have on your page. Those are the algorithms for earlier years. Earlier years, if you had 10,000 followers on a page or 10,000 people that liked a Facebook page, you will have a lot more push out from the algorithm to those people and people that are connected to them. That is not happening anymore. You can literally have 5 followers or 5 likes on a page, and specific content of you can have a huge reach without you having a huge following. The huge following is not important anymore. So don't look at your page, whether this is LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, and then go, oh, I've only got 10 followers or 100 followers on my page, and that person has got 5,000 followers or 10,000 followers. I promise you, it does not matter. The algorithms does not reward that anymore. I'm going to call it the olden day. Like in the olden day with social media, it did. Now that's completely a clean slate. Your content is what matters. What you're sharing is what matters. The value of that profile together with what you're sharing is what matters, not the amount of likes or follows that you have got on that page. That has fallen to the wayside. You can have 5 followers and have a video go completely viral on some of your platforms. And then you can have 10,000 followers and nobody really reaches out and sees that because the algorithms aren't pushing that type of content forward. So when we're looking at our LinkedIn profile, we want to position ourselves very specific. So position yourself as the go-to agent for a specific clientele, buyer, seller, investor, developer, commercial, in a very specific area. That has got to be the things that you think of. So you got to write this down for you. You want to position yourself specifically for which type of client, specifically which type of area, and specifically what type of service or problem do you solve. The more specific you can be in that type of way that you're positioning yourself, the more you are going to receive the right type of clientele and the right type of leads from that page. So you want to tell people who you help. Is it sellers? Is it buyers? Is it investors? You want to show what type of difference you make. So whether that be that you are helping families to have less stress, picking up on both of those, or whether you are helping investors to really manage your profile or their rental profile. I will do questions later on. I did see something pop up. We'll do that at the end. So you want to just write down your question if you've got them. So we'll have nice ones at the end. So you want to make sure they understand what type of service delivery you offer. Now, that's got to carry through, not just in your profile, but also in the type of content. So whether you're doing a blog article, whether you are sharing something about a story time with a little picture of someone that you helped through a specific, so a family that relocated, needed to get their kids in the school, and you might know someone at the school and you assisted them to have their process happen or their move happen much faster and easier. So this is where you show what is the extra mile that you go, what is that speciality, what is something that you make nice, or even a review from a client where they are thanking you specifically for that type of service or that type of role that you filled for them. So whatever you position yourself as, the things that you later on are going to be putting in your content, which we'll address tomorrow, is also going to be specific to how you've just positioned yourself in that previous slide in the landing page. And then you also want to say, you want to make it easy for them to refer you or for them to contact you. So you've got to think of those. The way that you speak to them, maybe they'll read it and they'll be like, okay, but I am in Durbanville, but my sister or my colleague from my company or my aunt is moving to Durbanville. So immediately when they see that, they would be like, okay, but you almost got to do a call for a referral. So a call to action for them to refer you in what you put in that about section. So you could speak of having family, having colleagues, having friends moving to the area if you're in the area, because then when you are connecting with people in the area, they are more likely to refer you to someone from family, friends, company, colleagues that are moving into, I'm using again my area, Durbanville, that is a family that needs to get into the schools. So all of these things is part of the positioning that you do on LinkedIn. And you've got to really think this through before you start doing. You've got to decide, where do I want to go with this? Who do I want to call on? It could even just be that you want to call on everyone that is living in Durbanville to refer you, to see your type of service, so that when someone is asking them, you know what, I'm moving to Durbanville, who is going to be an agent, or where can I get a rental place, or what can I do? Immediately, you have got to pop up in their mind, because that's the way that you positioned yourself. So I'm using an example here, but guys, it's wide. And the reason that I'm so specific about this is because you won't get rewarded by LinkedIn if you wide. The more that you narrow it down, the more that you're specific about who's that avatar, who's that specific client that you want and need to address and that you want to attract to you, the more your content and your page will appear in front of those eyes that are specific to you. Okay, so everything we do here is we are focusing on building local visibility. So local visibility in a platform like LinkedIn, even in other platforms, but we're specifically speaking about LinkedIn today, will beat any viral reach. There is no point in 10,000 people watching your funny video, but none of those people are really within your sector and your business sphere and your type of clientele or avatar that you really want to reach. So you have to stop looking, not just for LinkedIn, but at the amount of likes and follows and comments that you're getting on a broader scale. You rather want to look at who is becoming your fans in your local community. So that local visibility far outweighs more people seeing it at a wider range. So instead of having viral posts, even though they are fun and everyone's like, oh, so many people saw my post, I think it's just good for our egos, isn't it? It's far better for you to decide what is your niche market, because you will become the figure in your area that will win most eyes on you on a profile like LinkedIn from the right criteria, because your business profiles are on there. Your company owners, your founders that are not bothered with the Facebooks and the Instagram. That's just not how they're going to spend their time. They don't have time for that, but they like to also shop around on LinkedIn where other business and like-minded individuals are hanging out. So we are looking at some posts and some ideas here. You, for example, did in Georgia, one post that says top 3 things every buyer in George should know right now. So top 3 things every buyer in Bloberg should know right now. Every buyer in George should know right now. Every buyer in Mossel Bay should know right now. That will far better attract the type of client profile and the type of leads that you want to have, because you're so specific. Rather than saying top tips for home buyers, like that could be home buyers anywhere. That could be from New York all the way down to Mpumalanga. That does not speak to anything specific. So I want you to see the pattern that we're going with, because that's what LinkedIn rewards. So the pattern from your landing page, from that profile, straight through to your local visibility, the way that you speak in your profile to very specific clientele. And for those of you that are colleagues within the same company that I'm in, I see a lot of agents lose out on this because they become too broad spread, because they're so broad, because I can sell properties anywhere, so I want to cover all of South Africa. That is not going to serve you on LinkedIn. The more that you can narrow it down on LinkedIn, the better it is going to reward you by putting it in front of the right eyes. So if you've got in your landing page and in your about and in your profile, you mention, for example, George, and now when you do a post, you are repeating in that post, you are speaking to people that are buying or people that are selling in George. The fact that you've got those both mentions will get rewarded by LinkedIn, because it'll narrow down who's seeing it and it'll push it out to being seen by the correct people more, which is your local visibility that you're trying to establish. So people tend to want, we all know that, local experts, not influencers. And I think there's such a fine line these days with specifically real estate, lots of other professions as well, but that social feel that people want to have, and that influencer feel that they want to have when they're out on social media platforms. So it's almost like they're chasing the amount of views, and they're chasing the amount of likes, and they're chasing the amount of people that are following them on that page, when that is not really the important thing. You've got to tie in what we know from real estate, and I'm going to say what we know from real estate in an old-fashioned way. People like belly to belly. They like people that they know. They like people that they see in their community. They like people that are interacting in their community. They like people that they feel are similar to them, that understand the world that they're from, that understand the community that they're from. So LinkedIn allows you to really take that profile of the mom or the dad or the guy that's always hanging out in the gym every morning before he starts working, the real estate agent that's always there. So you want to look at that profile of who you speak to and really make that community based. The more that you can make that community based, your goal should be to be recognizable and to be someone that is visible and someone that they recognize in their community. That will bring you far better business success in your platforms, especially in LinkedIn, than trying to be an influencer, trying to put something out that's to a wide audience. So you want to be specific in using names of areas. And the more that you are specific in using the names, you also want to look at what type of profiles are you starting to connect with on LinkedIn. And we're going to move into that as well, because even that you want to be strategic about. We've used George here. So say George as the town in your landing profile, then George is repeating in your post that you are putting out. So whether this is an interesting, I think there's sometimes a car show in George. For those of you that are from George, correct me if I'm wrong. But I know sometimes they've got car shows. So maybe that's your hobby and that's something that you like, and you post an article on that. And then tomorrow you're posting for the sellers, and you are really speaking to the area as your area, your local visibility, the more that you've got that repetition from profile to usage in your content that you put out, the more LinkedIn will start rewarding you by showing you to people that are in that town. And like I said before, the thing that we do really know from old-fashioned, that's still very, very appropriate these days, real estate, is that the client that is in the affordability bracket for those more expensive houses, for the better neighborhoods, as the investors, they really want to feel a connection to someone in the sense that they know that person. They don't want to feel like it's some sort of influencer that is popular because they're making funny videos online. They really want to see this as someone that is a recognizable face in their area, and that really is someone that stands out for being in the community, someone that is known for being in the community, someone that I can see at the school sports day, someone that I can see at the local Woolies or the Pick n Pay, someone that is a repeat figure for them, and someone that really takes that LinkedIn profile and needs and builds it around that area that they are in. So you really want to start doing that, as LinkedIn will then start showing your profile to someone that is in that specific town or in that specific area. And that starts making your visibility in your local area rise, rather than trying to have visibility on a larger scale. It will pay off for you for leads far better than trying to do things that are going viral. Okay, so then on LinkedIn, you want to build your circle. So when you build that circle, you want to be intentional with how you're going to build that circle, and who you want to connect with in that circle. So you've all heard the saying, your network is your net worth. And after the figures that I've just shown you earlier in this slideshow, where I'm specifically showing you 1 billion users, 65 million decision makers, those people have got a net worth. Those are your clients, those are your investors, those are your sellers. So you want to be very specific to make sure that you focus on the clientele with a net worth versus what you see on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, where you might get lots of eyes, but they cannot buy anything more than a lollipop because they're still in school. So it's important that you understand why LinkedIn is so important for your profile as a real estate agent. So my suggestion would be, when you start building that circle of intent, or with intention, you want to look, first of all, maybe other agents. So there could be other agents around, other brokerages around that you want to connect with, because you start becoming visible to someone that is your competition, means that people are noticing you in the circle of your business. And for me, an agent that is not even known by other agents in their area is not really an agent yet. You need to be seen by other brokerages, by other real estate agents, because when they see and notice you, it means that they will eventually start collaborating with you. It means that when you pick up the phone to ask them if you can bring through a buyer into that listing, they're not going to say yes to an unknown face, but someone that is becoming more visible in their community, they are more likely to want to collaborate with. The next thing is, obviously, we are forever and ever working with so many different service providers. I've used attorneys and bond originators here. So attorneys and bond originators are also in that sphere of influence for real estate agents. So you can even start there. I'm sure as real estate agents, you all get invited to coffees and lunches and breakfast and everything with attorneys and bond originators. I tend to not take them, and the reason I don't is because if I have to say yes to all of those coffee dates, I'll never be working. I'll be on coffee all of the time. However, I will make a point, if they have invited me, keep that door open, keep the relationship open, and connect with them on LinkedIn. Make sure that I go connect with them on LinkedIn, because that allows two professionals to be linked to one another, and not in a social atmosphere, but in a business-like atmosphere. So even though you don't have to say yes to all of those coffees, you want to build a connection with those professionals that are within your circle. your mortgage advisors, so your banks, for example, ABSA, F&B. Very often you might be using a bond originator because it's easiest for you to do all of those financial institutions, but you could also be contacted by someone from a bank or a financial institution. Again, you don't want to go have all of these individual coffees because it'll keep you out of work the whole time. I'm a big advocate for the fact that real estate agents can be super busy or super productive. People like to say to me, "Listen, you're so busy." I'm not so busy, I'm so productive. So I choose where I spend my time every single day, hour on hour on hour, because otherwise I will get dragged along with what my cell phone is requiring and what my emails and who's looking for me. None of that which is building my business, none of that which is going to be my next income for the sale that I've made. So I am very, very intentional with how I spend my time. And that is something that I highly recommend to real estate agents, is to really look at how and where you spend your time, because we could be busy and make no money. Home inspectors is another one. Very good to be connected with home inspectors. And those could be your contractors for COCs. Those could be your professional inspectors that you might, I just needed one recently where buyer wanted a home inspection done. It could be the COCs, it could be your painters, it could be your contractors, it could be your developers, it could be interior designers, it could be photographers. Maybe it's photographers of real estate, but also photographers just of families. If you know that you're working in the market with families, you want to connect with them, because what does that mean? When that photographer from George is going on their LinkedIn profile and you are the real estate agent that they see at their gym, at their kids' school, and now on LinkedIn as well, it means that you've got continuous visibility in front of someone that is working with families. When they're taking pictures of the pregnant mommy with the 2 little kids, they likely might need a bigger house when that baby gets born. And you having the correct referral conversations with those referral partners could pay off for you in the long run, where you sending referring families to them for photos to be taken, and they referring families to you that might to upgrade to a bigger house or might need to move away to smaller, or anyone else in all of the stages of life that they might deal with. And then you want to go look at speakers, people that are doing podcasts, maybe podcasts. I'm not talking real estate podcasts. I'm talking about podcasts that could be about your area, that could be about cooking, but the person is living in the area, that could be about real estate, but people that are connecting in your circle. And if I say your circle, I mean like you draw a circle around your area that is closest to where you live, your neighborhood, your community, the businesses that are around your community. So even though these are the ones that I'm giving you as examples, I would recommend after that you go to your local community. So business owners there, are they on LinkedIn? Go find them, go meet them, go collaborate with them. Maybe you do a post, a little written article. So the nice thing about, yes, videos also does well on LinkedIn, but the nice thing about LinkedIn is it'll still show you that it'll reward a photo with a nice written post or even an article type of post more than it would do just a video. So if you are video shy for the other platforms where you want those visual things, you will get very, very good rewards for having a picture, maybe yourself and the owner of the hairdresser or the coffee shop local in your community standing outside the doors, and you writing a little article of your experience at that coffee shop or at that barber shop or at that hair salon, giving them the exposure, tagging their business page in, and much more likely for them to start giving your exposure as well. So I want you to think local, and I want you to think community when you think about how am I going to post, how am I going to do my landing page, how am I going to position myself on LinkedIn. You want to think smaller community, not broader reach, especially when you start. And like I said, that's like within your first 2 years. Not of being on LinkedIn, of being on LinkedIn with intent, being on LinkedIn as a real estate agent that is building a very specific avatar or profile of client that you want to be seen with, or reach out or in their front of house for. So here is a couple of tricks, and I actually have got a Word document, so I will send this out to everyone that is in our session today, but I'm giving you some examples to help you there. So first of all, headline, here I'm using some example, helping buyers or sellers in Paarl, sellers in Durbanville, sellers in Brackenfell, sellers in Oudtshoorn, whatever it is, helping people buy in Oudtshoorn. Or helping buyers move to this town. All of those are very good specific allocation of what you do and who's the client avatar that you're looking for. Then in the about section, that's where you put a little bit more meat on what you've already had in your headline. So your headline, you kind of go in strong, not very descriptive, and then you take that same thing down into your about section. And guys, we all know that we can use ChatGPT, but don't just copy and paste that in. Go look, make sure that it really speaks to what you're looking for, or know how to word your prompt for GPT so it sticks to that avatar profile. So if you had that in your headline, you're helping buyers or sellers in Paarl, then when you go down, you're going to broaden on that a little bit. I help first time. So now we're not at any buyers. We are calling specifically first time buyers and upgraders in Cape Town's northern suburb find the right home while simplifying the process. So when you're about section, and it's not going to be that short, this is just a one-line example, you want to go into it a little bit deeper. You want to give more information about your specifics, what you do, what your passion is. If you say first-time home buyers, you want to speak as to why you're so passionate about first-time home buyers and helping them. Maybe you are extremely patient. Maybe you love giving all of that information that is new to someone. So whatever that unique experience and offering is for you, you want to go in the about section and speak a little bit more to that. You also want to include specific experience. So include the area, include your team name, include your niche market, so first-time buyers, family homes, investment properties, newly developed properties or new developments, luxury real estate, corporate office buildings, whatever that is, you want to include that that's the type of experience that you've got, and these are your type of profiles that you deal with. And then in your featured section, so you'll see just below that, things that you have posted before, you can choose to feature. I also like to use reviews as a feature. So I might send some of you a little request to review me on the LinkedIn series after I've done the LinkedIn series in these next 3 sessions. So then what you do is you ask for a review for someone that has had that experience with you. So if you've sold in the luxury market, if you've been a professional in family homes, you want to go and you want to go ask them to review you on LinkedIn, because that reviews that you then put in feature becomes your it's almost like your Hello Peter. It's your reviews for your service. It's where you build up trust, where people can see this is not someone that has come out of nowhere. This is someone that really works in this sector. And again, your reviews has got to be specific. So if you build your entire profile over sellers, don't go add the buyer's review in here. Do them somewhere else. Do them on your Facebook, do them on your Instagram, put them on your website, wherever you want to go put them. But whatever your profile speaks to here, you want to make sure that even if you ask for reviews, you ask for it that is from that experience, that is from that client profile, that avatar profile, so that from the landing page to your type of post, to your features post, everything that is on that initial landing page all speaks to the same thing of who is that avatar, who are you helping, who are you speaking with, and that will then allow that profile to really start getting strength. And believe me, that is what LinkedIn will be rewarding by putting that in front of the right eyes, because LinkedIn then does not need to be confused. Who are you speaking with? Who do you want to look at my profile? Who do you want to have eyes on? So you've got to be very specific with that. So yeah, we are doing a couple of things of what does LinkedIn love? And I specifically love this because I think it's very simple to do something for someone or something if you know what it is what they want. So if they tell us what they want, it's much easier to do. So if you don't see, and I think a lot of you can't expect to see too much, because from those first comments that I've received on there was not a lot of you that are regular posters, regular users, not even just posters. And we're going to go into that, but regular users of LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is going to reward you if you're a regular user. So you're not invisible, you're just unknown. And that counts for everything, for LinkedIn, for your agent status. I heard something last year in Miami when I was at the conference that I have till today not forgotten, and I will not forget. And I think it really touched me because I pride myself in going above and beyond in the service that I give. And I pride myself in building up a lot of knowledge on my specific industry and what I do. So I think in our normal terms, you'll say that you build up to be the best. You really want to be the best in what you do. You want to be known for being on top of your game. And then they said this very important thing, which is the best known will beat the best. And I was like, oh no, I've been working so hard at being the best at what I do, but not necessarily at being the best known. Because I don't really like posts about myself, and I don't really like making video, and there's all of these things that we don't like. But that little line really hit me because I could relate to it. That was just me. The best known will beat the best, meaning those mandates will go to people that are known, people that are visible on these sorts of platforms, people that are known in their area for being a reliable and a trustworthy agent. You cannot be a secret agent when you're in real estate. You cannot fly under the radar, not with where we are with social media and platforms and visibility these days. So LinkedIn gives you a beautiful platform to be visible in front of the correct eyes, in front of the right people, because you're not going to have any kids jumping around on LinkedIn. It's just not for them. So you're speaking to the right people here. So again, I've said this before, you do not need to go viral. You just need to be visible to the right people, and the right people are the people in your community. And that's why even the smaller you want to make that, even if you're in Durbanville and you're like, you know what, I am going to have my entire profile speak to Clara Annafontaine, because that's the real estate area that I want to be known in, that I want everyone to see me. The smaller you make that, the more you're going to be in front of those correct eyes. So you don't have to make it that small. I'm just giving you an example that LinkedIn, the more specific you are with LinkedIn, the more that you narrow it down. You don't want to be widespread. You want to keep it narrowed down to have those right ones. So here are some of the things that LinkedIn loves. First of all, engagement within the first 90 minutes, 90, after you've done that post. So what is an engagement? An engagement is a like, a heart, cute little supporting hands, a comment, so much more. Okay, a comment will count for like 10 other engagements. So what you can do, and you'll see a lot of people do this on LinkedIn, you can actually cheat the system a little bit. Here's my little cheat secret for you. And how you can cheat the system is you can do your post to maybe ask a question. Maybe you are saying specifically about George, something about the market in real estate and the thoughts of the recent growth in that market. And your opinion on that will be in the comments. So whatever you post up here, you want to refer them, like have this question where you give your opinion, and people are like, okay, well, this is a well-known agent in the area. What do they think about it? They're going to go into your comments, even if they don't comment. The fact that they go and open up your comments to look at that answer that you have given is going to give higher engagement on your post. Now, LinkedIn likes to see this. So we want to give them what they like to see. And therefore, you can go put a comment in the first 90 minutes, and you don't want to do it straight. You don't want to put out the post and then within 2 minutes go put the comment. go have a cup of tea, come back, do something else 15 minutes later, then post your answer in there. So don't do it straight as you posted it, then post the next one. You want to give it a minute, couple of minutes, and then go put your comment in there. Okay, you also want to use the right hashtags. Now, I feel like if you're over 40, hashtags can be a swear word to many of us because we're like, what are we hashing? What is happening? What do we do? So let's narrow it down because you will get the best results. LinkedIn is much easier than a lot of the other platforms. So what you want to do on LinkedIn is you want to go to 3 hashtags. Okay, you want to use 3 hashtags, 1 broad, 1 niche, and 1 personal. So when I say 1 broad, you can maybe do something and you'll be able to see what's broad as you use the hashtags to show you the amount. But say, for example, happy seller or happy client, that will be a broad one because you'll see that there will be a huge amount of that, and that happy buyer or happy seller could be anywhere in the world of the 1 billion users of LinkedIn. So that would be seen as a broad one. It's non-specific. Then something that's niche. So when I say niche, I'm talking area. So maybe you hashtag your George, or you hashtag your Durbanville, or you hashtag your Milnerton, or you hashtag the maybe Milnerton luxury, if there's something like that. So you want to find something that is more niche, not as broad as the first one. And then the last one you want to make personal. So if you use your name as a hashtag, if you've got a specific hashtag that actually did not exist before you started using it, you can be smart, you can be funny with that one, you can be whatever, but the only thing there is you would be the only one that uses that when you start off with that personal hashtag. And you're going to start learning how to repeat that across platforms later and how to repeat that in what you're doing. So I've heard people with Acutus, you can brainstorm with GPT. Some people just use their name. I could be boring, so I would hashtag #LesNanel would go in there. But you can come up with something cute and something unique to you and the service that you offer. Maybe you are helpful Christine, or you are I don't know, that's why I use hashtag #LesNanel. I'm not creative. So brainstorm with GPT if you are unimaginably uncreative as I could be, but find something that when you use that, it's the first time that it gets used and it's unique to you. And you then continuously use that as you post out onto this platform, but even some other platforms later. Then this is extremely important for the visibility and the success for you on LinkedIn, is that time matters. Because LinkedIn is so different, it will not be the times that you would normally get pushed to do. Sometimes Facebook will tell you your highest view rate will happen 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the timing that matters on LinkedIn. Tuesdays, you see, not Mondays, because most business people on a Monday are super busy. And these days, I feel like Friday is the new Monday. I don't know. But there specifically is shown to us that LinkedIn's highest interaction, views, and involvement between Tuesdays to Thursdays, 9 to 12. Tuesdays to Thursdays, 9 to 12. If you are going to post something outside of these hours, Monday is not recommended just because of your profile of the clients that's on there. But say, for example, you're going to do something on a weekend. You can do something on a weekend, but then on the weekend, your tone of your post has got to be different. So say, for example, you are someone that is very focused on homeowners in your area. So homeowners in the Durbanville area, your entire profile is about that. On a Sunday, you are going to do a personalized post of you also being a homeowner in Durbanville, but how this homeowner So now you're not posting yourself as an agent, you're also a homeowner in Durbanville, and how you spending your lunch or how you spending your morning, maybe a local activity, walking in a specific garden, having lunch or a tea after morning church at a specific coffee shop. So whatever that is weekend related, but still speaks to that profile, but not on a business. Like you're not going to go post out your 3 top tips for Durbanville home buyers on a Sunday. You're going to save that between Tuesday and Thursday. But you can do something that shows a little bit more personality, a little bit more of yourself. And again, putting yourself in that same bracket, in that same area is going to be rewarding for you if you do something over a weekend. And then tag people, but do not tag people for attention. Okay, I see a lot of people on different profiles would do this. They'll post something on Facebook and then they will tag everyone and their cousin that they know into that post, because by tagging them, it means that more eyes will go onto that post. LinkedIn does not like that. LinkedIn likes when you tag someone that is related specifically to that article. So if you posted something about a happy client and you tag that happy client, fantastic. Or if you posted something about a local coffee shop that you visited and you tag that coffee shop or the person of that coffee shop, good. So much more if you tag someone that is likely to comment on that is likely to have engagement, a like, a heart, a something on that. If you tag someone and they don't interact with it, it'll actually count against you, not for you. So don't go wild tagging. You want to be very intentional with your tag. If you tag someone, it's got to be because they're related to that. And you can maybe even do a call to action in the tag. So say, for example, you are tagging about the business in the George or in the Durbanville or whatever area, and the amount of coffee shops that is opened up and how busy they all are. You can maybe tag in 1 or 2 of the local coffee shop owners, and you want to tag positive people and ask them how they are finding their business, or when is their busiest times, or what on their menu do the clients enjoy most? What do they come to them for? And you tag them in, maybe even pop them a WhatsApp to say you've tagged them into that post and that you would like them to go correspond on that, and then do engagement and share it to their page as well, because it's calling out for them specifically, and maybe a top signature dish on their menu or a specific amazing luxury coffee or whatever it is that their speciality is. So that's a different way for you to engage with that person, and that's something that will get rewarded very well on LinkedIn by who will see it and what eyes will go on that specific post. Now, if you're anything like me, sometimes more than what I'm supposed to do, you have to tell me what not to do. I deal very well when you tell me what not to do. So here is a couple of what not to do's on LinkedIn. First thing is, do not scroll aimlessly. Not on LinkedIn or on any other profile for that matter. You can either spend hours and hours and hours scrolling profiles, or you can set a little timer for you to be someone that's more productive on your time. You can much rather put on a motivational video with earphones in as you get ready, do your hair, your makeup, and whatever in the morning, than doom scrolling TikTok where you're listening music while you're busy setting yourself up. So set a little timer, first of all. Doom scrolling won't be rewarded. I'm going to tell you what will get rewarded. Copying viral agents, I call them bro marketers from the US. You can maybe see this person and they've got a huge following and they do amazing and they're funny, but they're nothing like you. You have to be authentic. You have to be who you are. People need to look at that profile, and from the landing page to the post to everything that you do has got to speak to who you are. You cannot do something out of the norm. Someone asked me about a year, was it a year ago, 2 years ago, to do some, and I actually saw, I was cleaning up my phone with a little stuck phone, and I saw some of those video clips. I mean, they are hilarious just because I'm so bad, but they asked me to do funny videos with them. I am not funny like that. So as soon as you do it, it's awkward, it's weird. It is not funny. The only thing funny is how uncomfortable I am. So you have to do something that is you. And if that is funny, go for it. Like, that's a talent. Show it off, but be authentic about it. Don't try and be something that you're not. And be very comfortable to just be who you are, because you can't be different. People are going to love you for who you are. You need to know, anywhere on social media, whether it's LinkedIn or one of your other platforms, you would be able to divide the people in threes or thirds. So 1/3 is going to love what you do. 1/3 is not going to like what you do at all. And 1/3 is not going to care. So forget about those 2/3 and just speak to the third that's going to like what you do. Okay. And the only way you're going to find who that third is just by being yourself, just doing who you are, what you do, what you enjoy doing, so that it is natural and comfortable for you. Then don't post without intention, like post just for the sake of posting, like post that doesn't say anything and it doesn't mean anything, and it's just there because you feel like, oh, I'm supposed to put something out, so now I'm just going to put that out. You are much better off on LinkedIn to just then not post anything at all, and rather use time to interact, rather spend some interacting time where you're reading other articles that's maybe inspiring you, that can grow your business, that can grow your brand, that can grow you as a person, that could be interesting for you in your area, or maybe it's about a different area, but then that makes you research, how does that statistic look in your area, and how does that speak to what's happening in the market for you right now, or for the business sector in your area. You are far better off spending your time like that than by posting because you feel like you've got to post something. And then, I said this before, I'm saying it again, overthinking likes. Do not sit and overthink how many people like that post. You can have one person that likes most of your post that is the owner of 20 properties in your area, and that you did not even know them before. That is a way more valuable view, supporter, someone that enjoys or engages with your post or saw your post, than having 100 people that are not from your town, never going to use you, never going to think about you again. So don't be worried about how many people like this, and if they didn't like it, maybe I should do it differently, and maybe I should change the conversation. Forget about that. And just think about your interaction that you can do, because that will automatically get you more likes and interaction and the right eyes on those posts. So put the ego aside. Don't let vanity get the best of you. It can happen for all of us on social media, but just do you. Okay, now I like to call this my 10 minutes in bed strategy. So this 10 minutes in bed is, rather than checking out my calendar for the day or looking at my emails or doing something else, whether this is in the evening, because your post can be 9 to 12, but the interaction can happen at any other time. So the interaction gets highly rewarded by LinkedIn if you are active on it. So when I say being active for 10 minutes in bed, you can literally see your LinkedIn interaction as a couch session or a lying. It does not need to be formal in front of your computer. You're editing, you're interacting, you're doing. It could be really informal, but 10 minutes a day can be extremely rewarding for you, starting with a nope, not often, yes, once a week or twice a week. If you start taking it to 10 minutes a day, it can make a huge difference on the visibility that you've got on that profile. So what you want to do in that 10 minutes, you want to comment on 5 to 10 posts daily. Okay, so 5 to 10 posts, and ideally from your area, from your circle, from your network that you're trying to be more seen in. So when you've connected with business profiles, business owners in your area, and you start interacting with them, that is going to allow LinkedIn to show whatever you're doing to more people that are of that same demographic area. Okay, they're going to boost that out for you. So when you do these comments, what is important, LinkedIn does that little, I want to say cheat sheet. So their little AI that'll give you 2 words or 3 words as a comment onto a post. That's not enough. So if you're going to use that, then use that and continue writing. So if they said fantastic, or they said good job, or I like this, or whatever shortcuts they give you, you can use that, but you have to keep on typing. You want to exceed 5 words, 10 even better. So if you can type a little bit more in that comment, you can give a bit more of your opinion, you can be a bit more supportive, whatever that is, you want to do that, and you want to do 5 to 10 of those comments on different type of posts daily. Doesn't take you a lot of time, but you want to do those posts more than 5 words, not less. 10 words or more, fantastic, but don't go write an essay. Then you want to reply to every comment on your own post. So even if it's just one person that commented, you go reply on that comment. If you show as more engaging to your followers, your likes, your views, your visibility, LinkedIn will reward you for that and put you in front of more eyes. The algorithm will automatically reward you for the more active and the more engaging you are on the posts of the community around you and on the comments that you are getting on your posts, like conversation starters almost, where someone is saying to you, well done, thank you. Maybe they're doing those 3-word comments, and then you go write something nice underneath that. Remember, 10 words or more is fantastic. Then you want to go send 10 new connection requests every day. So 10 new connection requests for that little circle that you're building. So please don't go this week like we can all do that sometimes. We go all out and then nothing. I'm not asking you this week, next week, or next month to go all out at any given time. But I want you to start committing 10 minutes a day to LinkedIn. And I promise you, if you start doing 10 minutes a day to LinkedIn and you're following these things, you're commenting on other people, you post when you've got something valuable to post that are area specific, you find 10 new connections that are in this area that you want to target on a daily basis, and you do some reactions. So instead of just doing the 5 to 10 comments, you want to do them as well. You also want to go react, show a little supporting hand, show a little heart, show a little like on other people's posts that are coming up on your feed specifically in this area. So you want to support other people. LinkedIn will reward you for that by putting your content out there so you get engagement back. So 10 minutes a day has got to be your little goal you set for yourself. And it almost has to go in your calendar or a little reminder bell that says, I know during the day at this time, whether it's in the morning, on the afternoon, or wherever, even if you queue somewhere, you can go on your phone, on LinkedIn, and you can follow these steps to spend your 10 minutes a day and use that 10 minutes that you're waiting for a client way more productive, because it will start rewarding you on LinkedIn if you do that. So we are not talking about hours. We're not talking about crazy content. We're going to do content tomorrow. We're not speaking about loads and loads and loads of time. We're speaking about 10 minutes a day. And I'd love to hear by Thursday, when it's the 3rd session, if you guys just start today with doing 10 minutes a day, what you experience when you get to Thursday. Okay, so tomorrow's session is session 2, and like I have alluded a couple of times, we are dealing specifically with content that converts. So I've given you some tips today. Tomorrow we dive into that a little bit deeper. It is on the same, I will share it with you here. I'll actually send you an email. I'll send you all an email out. It's on the same website page. You'll see the upcoming events. Today's session would have expired. Tomorrow's session will come up. So session 2, we're doing content that converts, and same time. And then on Thursday, a little bit, half an hour later, we are doing LinkedIn for collaboration and referrals. So we're specifically looking at how can you collaborate better and how can you have call to action and get more referrals from your LinkedIn profile. So it's a lot of information, and that's why we break it into 3 sessions so that we can have some discussions, we can have some fun, and we can exchange some things, and that I know you can walk away saying, I can do 10 minutes a day. And I know you'll experience the same than what I did. As soon as you start with that 10 minutes a day, suddenly you're going to go like, oh, this is really nothing. And I can see how it's picking up and I can see the involvement. And it'll actually outweigh what you're used to seeing on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, because it's way easier for you as a professional to be seen on LinkedIn than it is to be seen on those platforms. Plus, it is being seen by the right clientele. So I'm going to stop sharing and we are going to jump into some questions, which I'm excited to chat to you about. Johan, go for it. I'm going to try and read the comments as well as we go.
Liz, now I must say, I've actually only got one word, is wow, wow, wow. This is really, it's opened my eyes to this. I must say, I've really received in the last couple of months quite a few connection requests from real estate agents. Now, my question is, once you've received a request or a connection, what do you do after that? I mean, you obviously receive that request and you respond to it, but what happens to that connection after that?
That's a very good question, Johan. I love that. So when you get that connection where someone is now asking you, can you connect? You accept the connection. You want to go do two things. First of all, you want to go message them. You know, you can private message them. So you want to go message them to say, thanks for reaching out and connecting with me. I do real estate in the area, blah, 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 whatever your little spill is around your business. But I would also bring some more personal things in there, such as I looked at your profile because you want to go do that, see what type of business they are in, maybe ask them a question about their business. If it is the type of business that you think you can do a post about, you want to use that opportunity for them to ask if you can do a post together. Or if it's a real estate agent connecting with you, you want to find out if their profile doesn't show exactly where do they work. Is there opportunity for you guys to collaborate together? So you want to open the door to taking that connection to a conversation. And in part of doing that as well, you're going to go, because they asked to connect with you, you're normally like, okay, who is this? Who are you? What do you do? So as you go look on their profile, you're going to see their profile, and you're also going to see different things such as their type of business. Maybe you'll see, because everyone's got this history, the CV part, that kind of shows where they worked before. You might find something that there is a company that's not too big and your wife has worked there, or a good friend of yours worked there. So anything that you can take that connection and turn that into a closer connection, a warmer referral partner, or a warmer lead for the future, to make conversation that matters rather than just connect and now you let it go. That's what you want to do. And by looking through their profile, you might want to go put a comment on one of their posts that you are intrigued about, or that you've got something to say about, and you want to do maybe 2 or 3 reactions on their post as well. Again, that is going to reward you through LinkedIn by connecting you with more people like that.
Okay, great. Then just as another question, can we use this type of platform also almost as a marketplace? In other words, trying to get connections to maybe agent attraction or something like that, or listings or something like that.
You can definitely use it for whatever profile. So if you're building it as you are looking for sellers, you can show what type of other properties you've got in the market. Just be very careful not to post listing after listing after listing. That's not going to interest people. You might want to do a listing, then you might want to do a interesting tips, then you might want to do an article of the area, and then next week another listing again. So you don't want to overwhelm those viewers with loads of listing that it just looks like a listing profile or a listing platform. You want to have a holistic approach over who you are, how you show up. But if you are looking to sell more luxury real estate or more family homes in the area, because that is your target market, you showing that that is what you're doing is definitely a good idea. It's something that you can add to your post profile. Yvonne, you've got a question? Just remember to unmute, Yvonne. I'm not sure if you're speaking.
Okay, sorry about that. I just want to ask, it's similar to what Johan asked, or in the same vein. Say, for instance, I or any other agent focus primarily, let's say 85% on agent attraction. Will you also give us some, food
Yvonne,
for
I'm not
thought?
going to do that here. We've got people from all sorts of brands. I don't believe in doing that with the LinkedIn training. You're welcome to ask me in a private setting for that, but I would like to keep this LinkedIn. Whatever that profile is that you choose, then you choose that profile and you can ask me, or you can start chatting to ChatGPT and get some more ideas on that's the profile that you choose and that's specifically what you're going to go in for. So whether that be for buyers, sellers, agents, whatever it is, you got to think everything around that profile and how you're building that profile.
Okay,
But I want to
thank
be
you.
respectful to all of our guests. Thanks, Yvonne.
Thank you, Lesna.
Go for it. Simpiwe, I'm not sure if you're speaking, but you are muted.
Hello, ma'am. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I think personally, I don't have a question per se, other than to say, thank you very much. I think these sessions are very, very important and informative also. So personally, I'm learning a lot. For example, in our case, we didn't use this platform, so I think it's one of the platforms that we really need to take advantage of. So we just wanted to express our gratitude to you also, and to just keep encouraging you to continue with what you're doing. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Simpiwe. So for those that are on this call that does not or might not know Simpiwe is a principal of a fantastic brand in the Eastern Cape. We met recently when I was there with the Agents Helping Agents AHA Club. And he does such a good job with training his agents. I really enjoyed your whole group of agents that were there. And I'm looking forward to continue working with you guys in the future. It's just a beautiful bunch of people. And thank you for that kind words, Simpiwe. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Reading through the comments, I haven't seen a question yet. If I haven't gotten to it, you're welcome to give us a shout out. Jerry, go for it. Jerry, I can see you unmuted, but we can't hear you. I'm not sure if you're speaking. Sorry, we can't hear you, so I'm going to go ahead. I see a question from Johan Lotter here, and Johan is asking, why is LinkedIn so unpopular amongst a lot of people? I actually think, Johan, that it is, I don't think it's unpopular. I think it's hugely overlooked because it's always been seen as a platform for business recruitment. So type of an HR platform, which is what it started with. It also had very boring, I'm going to say, design and artistry around it. And I don't think a lot of people have woken up to how it's evolved, what type of clientele is on that versus your other platforms, which anyone with a phone, which is any teenager or below, can be on, versus the people that are on LinkedIn. So I think there's a huge gap in the market for people to spot that. And that's why I'm passionate about this training, because I feel like the individuals that do run through this training is able to really get on their leads, as I have, and start drawing in the right type of people by making use of this platform. Michelle, go for it.
Lesna, thanks so much. This is so interesting because I've been on LinkedIn for years, but I've never been on it, if you know what I mean. But so could you tell me, you're obviously very active on LinkedIn. What kind of leads have you received from LinkedIn? How well has it worked for you?
It has worked very well for me since I've started adopting the theory that I am sharing with you guys here, which is being very specific on your profile. So before that, I was also just, I'm going to say, vegging on there. But since I have become very, very specific on my profile, who am I speaking to on my profile, I have built fantastic connections.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sikelela? Yes, Sikelela. Sorry, you muted. I'm not sure if you're speaking. I think we might have lost her. Anyone else with any other questions, anything you'd like me to cover or that you're wondering about? I'm hoping all of you are going to be in session number 2 tomorrow at the same time. Cynthia, good to see you. Go for it.
Hi, Lesna. I just wanted to ask, do you only have one profile for your property side and another for your building your business, or do you just have one?
Only one profile. I do have, because my team has got a profile, so I have recently made a team profile. But I can tell you that I've not really interacted on that team profile. I think it's very easy for us to get overwhelmed amongst all of the different platforms. So I am just focusing on my own profile. I think the more profiles we create so many, but the more upkeep they need. So I'd much rather you spend a lot of time on one specific one and see the results from it than having 2 or 3 different ones with different profiles and different avatars, and then not having the time to upkeep them all. So my hope and my goal is for everyone to start spending that 10 minutes a day, and to let me know in 2 weeks from now what you've experienced when you did that continuously and you stayed consistent with that 10 minutes a day, because it's not long before you'll see the results. You'll see it pretty fast.
Thank you.
Sorry, I see a question, Melanie. Would you still encourage us to continue with Instagram and Facebook? 2000%. Why? Because that's a different visibility platform. So this is a lead generating platform in the way that I see it. It gives me really good leads for very specific clientele that I want, whereas Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok will give you visibility. And that visibility is also very, very important. So the one will give you solid leads, and the other one might give you leads as well, but will give you very good visibility. Melody, go for it.
Thank you so much, Lisna, for the training so far. This was very helpful. I definitely I don't know if it's more of a question or a comment, but it's over the years, I've definitely been on LinkedIn, but I've been on there for years, but not very active on it. But personally, for myself, when I'm checking other people's businesses or other people's reviews, if I ever wanted to hire them for a certain job, I would definitely use LinkedIn to kind of see, what are their client reviews, what's their background, do they have a good amount of experience in the specific thing that I want to hire them in, or, all these types of things. Versus now it's like I've actually just created a new profile specifically now for real estate to just be focused in that area, just because I do a few different things for work. So I want to have a very focused one for real estate. And then I think it's also a great way to set up referrals, right? Like when you essentially, for example, other businesses that I've had friends, and I want to share it. I'm like, how can I share what you do with people to promote you to get, new clients or this? And they're like, oh, I'll WhatsApp you my LinkedIn, the link for my LinkedIn profile. And then, that's a super easy way to just pop it over to someone. And I'll be like, hey, you were mentioning you're looking for someone in XYZ. And it's it's not necessarily, a lot of people do have their resumes, their full educational background and all these things, but then you can clearly see what does this person do? What do they specialize in? Are they going to be specifically what I need? And then, like you said, the call to action there, set up a 15-minute phone call with me so that we can go over how I can help you with what your services you're looking for. So these things I think are really useful. And also what you mentioned around having access to I would say like top level executives in like a multitude of industries that you don't necessarily always have access to on other platforms. It's amazing, honestly. Like it's business Facebook, let's say, is what LinkedIn is, right? Yeah. Anyways, but feel free to add on. I was just kind of
It's a
sharing.
good way of explaining it, Melody, Facebook for business professionals, because those clients that you've got on LinkedIn is not necessarily the one that wants to be dragged into Facebook. They are high profile individuals. They don't want to be seen with their feet up or on the beach or having their dinner or whatever else gets posted on all of these social platforms. But similar to what you're saying, they often are looking when they have got huge staff supplement, they'll go use that for business profile, for checking up on someone. And most of your recruitment companies will get individuals to go update on their LinkedIn profiles as well. And I guess when you spoke about it, there's also something that even people that are not as advanced as we and a lot of other people are in the use of LinkedIn, even the people that are still using it for the old-fashioned purposes are going to spot you on there and see you on there. And at the end of the day, the way that I think of it as a real estate agent, whenever you work with a buyer or a seller, you are getting employed. Whether you like to think of it or not, in that way, you are getting employed.
Right.
So using your profile correctly on there so that they want to employ you for that service that they require, that they want to use you as that service provider and that professional service, what you've got going on that profile is going to matter. It really is.
Right. I was just going to ask one more thing around engagement, because I've done a little bit of work online around content creation and things. And what you're saying around the algorithm and engagement, it's so valid that you have to be kind of consistent and you have to put like little time slots of time to specifically take action daily to really kind of grow that engagement. What I wanted to say is, do we have a way where maybe like the people on this call, for example, we can share maybe our LinkedIn links with each other, and then we can all follow each other and provide some support with creating some engagement just to kind of boost our pages as we're getting started?
Oh, I absolutely love that. So what I'm going to suggest we do tomorrow, hopefully all of you will visit us, is that without getting completely distracted and not following the training, maybe we can set out like a 10 minutes, and in that 10 minutes, we can all go on LinkedIn and we can all go find, like you can see the names on here on the profiles, or we can even stick our profiles in the chat box. I'll set some specific time out for us to do that. And even if we go connect with 10 of each other or one another on that, it's a great start for us to have that activity and also start getting to know one another and to start supporting one another. Love that idea, Melody.
Thank you.
Hey guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much. So I am back tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and I'm looking forward to diving into the content creation. So we exchange a bit of ideas and we talk about different things that you can do to really take that profile or that avatar and start speaking to them in the way that you post together with what you're creating on your landing page. Have an amazing evening. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And if you haven't registered, otherwise you're not going to get the link, make sure that you go register on tomorrow's episode, because when people message me now, I won't see it. Once I start, I just put the phone to the side. So make sure that you get the correct link so you can join us tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Lisna.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
See
Lisna.
tomorrow.
Bye,
Lisna.
Thank you, bye. Thank you.
Bye,
Melody,
Lisna.
Melody?